My story starts in a place most people never thought I'd come out of. A dark past, a heavy silence. They said I'd never study, never recover, never rise. But they were wrong, because even in the dark, I was already searching for light. I grew up surrounded by things no child should see. Pain was normal, silence was survival. People saw damage, not potential. But behind that silence, something was forming. The will to understand, not to repeat. Family, friends, teachers, they all wrote my story before I could write it myself. They said I was too broken to study, too late to recover, but the truth is, you can't measure growth by someone else's timeline. While others moved fast, I learned slowly. Every small win rebuilt what trauma had torn down. I realized time is recovery, and equity means giving people their own time to heal and grow. The more I learned, the stronger I became. Every scar started to mean something. I stopped seeing damage. I saw data. Every mistake was a message that taught me how to rebuild myself from the inside out. I realized that growth doesn't look perfect. It looks like trying again. I wasn't racing anyone anymore. I was finally moving at my own pace, and that's when I started to rise. That's when the word equity made sense. Equality gives everyone the same, but equity gives each person what they actually need. All I needed was time, support, and belief, not pity. Once I understood equity, I started seeing others differently too. Everyone carries their own invisible story. Inclusion isn't about fixing people. It's about listening, understanding, and making space for them to grow. Equality means giving everyone the same, but life doesn't start from the same place. Equity means giving each person the support they actually need to reach the same outcome. That's what changed my story. Not being treated the same, but being understood differently. Before learning about EDI, I thought bias was always obvious, but most of it hides in our choices, reactions, and assumptions. I realized people weren't always cruel. They were just unaware of their own bias. Inclusion is being invited into the room. Belonging is when your voice actually matters there. For a long time, I was included in name, but not in spirit. Now I understand how belonging transforms people. Workplaces that understand EDI don't just avoid discrimination, they unlock creativity. When people feel safe and seen, they bring their real ideas, not just the safe ones. Equity, diversity, and inclusion aren't just policies, they're human. They're the reason someone like me, once written off, can rebuild, contribute, and belong. That's what real progress looks like. Time didn't just heal me, it educated me. I learned that recovery isn't about erasing pain, it's about turning it into direction. Every delay had meaning. Every step back was actually preparation for the next leap. Education gave me more than knowledge. It gave me belonging. When systems include people who were once left out, they don't just change lives, they change outcomes for generations. Diversity isn't just difference, it's strength. Every voice, every background adds a new way of seeing. The more perspectives we include, the more complete the picture becomes. I'm not the person they thought I'd be. I've outgrown my past, and that's what equity does. It doesn't erase where we come from, it helps us rise beyond it. Imagine if every organization saw people not for where they are, but for what they could become, if equity wasn't just policy, but instinct. That's the kind of world I want to help build. For me, equity, diversity, and inclusion aren't checkboxes. They're personal. They're the reason I'm here. They prove that fairness and belief can change a life, even one people gave up on. This is my story, not of perfection, but of progress. I am living proof that equity works, that inclusion heals, and every voice deserves to be heard. Because when you include people, they don't just join, they shine.